Welcome to the Budget Mom YouTube channel. I'm Kamiko Love from thebudgetmom.com, and today we're going to be doing a video all about preparing for the new year, 2022. I thought this would be a good video to post because everyone is thinking about their financial goals for the new year, saving for new things in the new year, and one of the best ways to do that is by utilizing and using sinking funds. So today we're going to be going over how I determine my sinking funds for a new year, what I'm going to save for, how I'm going to do that. But before we jump into my specific sinking funds, let's talk a little bit more about the basics. If you're new here to the Budget Mom and have not heard the term sinking funds, it's kind of a weird term. What a sinking fund is, it's saving a little bit every single paycheck for a planned or expected purchase in the future. Okay, how is that different from your emergency fund, right? We might be saving a little bit every month or paycheck for our emergency fund. So a sinking fund is planned and expected. Okay, we're expecting and knowing that that purchase is going to happen in the future. An emergency fund is planning for the unexpected, right? We don't touch our emergency fund unless it's for true emergencies. And true emergencies, we really never know when they're gonna pop up in our lives. Sinking funds, we do. So that's what a sinking fund is, saving a little bit every single month or paycheck for a planned expense or purchase in the future. Now, this could look like a holiday, an event, maybe even a new car purchase, a vacation. Okay, those are all examples of sinking funds, and you're gonna get a lot more examples when you see my sinking funds. We're gonna go through a worksheet also together so I can show you how I create these in my real life. Now, what's the difference between a sinking fund and a goal? They're very different. A goal is an outcome. A goal is something that you expect to accomplish or reach. A sinking fund is how you reach that goal. Okay? It's the small routine actions that you take in your life to reach that desired outcome. Also, I want to answer some questions that I get every single day when it comes to either my savings or my sinking funds. Number one, do I save for my sinking funds in cash? Now, if you look at all my envelopes, Katie, this might be overwhelming for you at first when you see these, but these are all my sinking funds. It's a lot. And when you're looking at that, it might seem a little overwhelming. Some of my sinking funds, like these that you're seeing here, I save for in cash. My bigger sinking fund goals, like my property taxes, my house insurance, those are saved in separate savings accounts at my credit union. And so yes, all people ask, are they truly separate saving accounts? Yes. I bank at a credit union that allows me to have as many savings accounts as I want without any minimums and without any fees. So it works for me in my life. If you're looking for something like that also, I recommend to check out credit unions over big banks, because credit unions are member owned and you're gonna probably find less fees and restrictions there with your savings and checking accounts. So that's one question. And let's go over why I like to save. So I usually save things like holidays and events, things that I know I'm gonna be spending for throughout the year, like Christmas. I'm buying Christmas gifts throughout the year. I like to save those in cash, because I like having quick access to my event cash sinking funds. That's just me though. So this is whether you save in a separate savings account, whether you decide to use a high yield savings account, or whether you decide to save in cash is completely up to you and how you feel comfortable managing your money and your goals. But this is how I like to do it. Now, if I do want to mention one thing, if you do plan on saving for your bigger sinking funds, like let's take for instance my property taxes. My property taxes are over $8,000 a year. My property taxes come due in April. So I have to have a big chunk of change ready in April to pay those property taxes. That might be a sinking funds I would hold at a high yield savings account, because I know I only have to access that savings once a year, right? I'm not going to touch it other than using it to pay for its intended purpose. The reason I say that is because high yield savings accounts usually have a 6 transfer limit. So if it's a savings account that you're going to be dipping into and having all these different transactions, multiple transactions a month, then I would suggest not having the high yield savings account and doing it in cash or a savings account at your credit union or bank, so you have access to those funds without worrying about your withdrawal limit. Okay, so another question I get is, Miko, aren't you terrified of having all this cash in your home? So I save all of my sinking funds in cash. Any cash here at my house is held in a fireproof safe in a safe location in my home. It's something I feel comfortable with doing, and that's how I currently store and hold my cash that I save. The next question is, Miko, how many sinking funds should I have? Isn't it funny how when we start saving for things, everything seems important, right? We want to save for all the things. And so what do? We implement all those things into our budget, and then at the end of the day, we sit back and say, well, I don't have enough money. It's because we're spreading ourselves and our income and our budget so thin, trying to accomplish and save for everything that we want. So the main thing with sinking funds, it's all about prioritization in our lives and simplifying. Right? It's not meant to save for 30 different things and have 5 billion envelopes that you're saving for. It's about having a strategy based on priorities in your life. There are going to be some things that you're not going to be able to fit within your income limits and your budget for a sinking fund that you're going to have to cash flow. A perfect example of that is birthdays, right? I don't know if you have a lot of people in your life that you are celebrating birthdays for every year. If you add up all the birthdays that you celebrate throughout the year, how much does that equal? You'll be surprised, it adds up, especially if you're buying gifts and celebrating birthdays for 50 people throughout the year. Guess what? You might not have it in your budget to have a sinking fund for birthdays in your life. So you have to learn how to cash flow, meaning using the paycheck for that current event instead of saving a little bit each month. I get a lot of questions also, Miko, I have debt. Should I be saving for a sinking fund if I have debt? Now, if you've been following the Budget Mom for a while, then you know that my motto here is you should not have to stop living your life because you have debt. You don't stop living because you have debt. And I'm also the type of person that feels like life is too short. We need to take advantage of this wonderful life that we have now, even if you have debt. What does that mean? It means responsible planning. So when I had debt and I was paying off my $77,000 worth of debt, I did have a sinking fund, one sinking fund, and that was Christmas. Why? It's because it was an event that happened every single year where I felt pressured to use my credit card. And every single year I found myself going into credit card debt over and over and over again for Christmas. So I knew that in order to stop that cycle, I had to work it in my budget and prepare and plan responsibly for Christmas spending. So I started a sinking fund. Was it a lot when I had debt? No. I think it was like I saved a total of $200, but that was the first time in my life that I learned to save responsibly and to be fully prepared with cash for an event that used to put me in credit card debt. So it's up to you to know your priorities in your life. Remember, no one knows your finances and your money better than you. Sometimes we have to take that and put trust in ourselves to make the best decisions because you're ultimately the one who knows best when it comes to your finances. So let's look at right now my sinking funds for 2022 and the process that I use to figure out the amounts and what I'm going to save for in the new year. So the first thing I want to show you, it's called the Sinking Fund Savings Tracker. Now you can find this in our free resource library. I'll make sure to put a link in the description below of this video This is the tracker and the worksheet that I use to figure out what my goals are, my savings and sinking funds are for the new year. Now, over here, I have goals listed. Now you might be asking, Miko, I haven't started this process before. I don't even know what to save for. So the first thing you need to do is you need to look back at the previous year and say, okay, what did I spend my money on? What was an event that pops up over and over again in my life where I'm pressured to use a credit card, where I want to be a little more prepared financially for that event or purchase? Now I want you to think about holidays, events, birthdays. Maybe you have a vacation you want to start saving for, or you know you have an upcoming wedding that you need to attend. Okay? Look in the past and look in the future. So here are my sinking funds for 2022. I have my boyfriend's birthday, 4th of July, my son's birthday, back to school, Christmas, Valentine's Day, property taxes, sports, bulk grocery runs, my Disport, house maintenance, car maintenance, vacation, pest control, and house insurance. Now you might saying, oh my gosh, Miko, that is so much stuff. Let's talk about different financial situations. I am debt-free. So what you are seeing is someone who can prioritize saving in their lives differently than someone who might has debt. So this might look very different for you. You might only have just these top 2 lines, just 2 sinking funds. Maybe you just have 1. That's fine. But the reason I have so many is because I am debt-free and I am able to allocate my funds a little bit differently. So you write down your goal. If you are seeing a green dot on this worksheet, it's an online transfer. That means I am not saving for those things in cash. I'm saving for those in my savings accounts at my credit unions, right? I don't have an envelope where I'm saving for it in cash. If it's pink, I'm saving for it in cash. So that's a great way for me to visualize and see the difference between those two. Now let's go through one goal so you can see how I work this out. For instance, let's look at my son's birthday. So every year I save $400. I take 12 months and I save up $400 for my son's birthday. Okay, there's the goal amount. Here's the goal amount. My son's birthday is in August. Now, I like to prepare my sinking funds where I have the money saved a month before I need to spend the money. So if my son's birthday is in August, I want to have that money ready for July. That gives me a full month to either buy presents or to plan the party or to plan the event. It gives me the money for a full month so I can really make sure I have time to spend it in the best way possible for that event. So if that's the case, if I start my sinking funds in January of 2022, I have 7 months to save for my son's birthday. Now, last year in 2021, I didn't use all $400 for my son's birthday. So guess what? I decided to use anything that I didn't spend for his birthday in the new year. So I already had $163 of my $400 goal saved, which means I still need to save $237. If I take the $237 and divide it by the number of months I have to save, which is 7, I have to save $34 every single month to hit my $400 goal by July of 2022. This is a great way to see the difference between a goal and a sinking fund. This is my goal, the $400. This is how I'm reaching that goal. $34 a month. It's going to give me the desired outcome of $400 by July of 2022. So you're going to do that for each one of your goals. Now, so you can see, okay, the ones highlighted in yellow for like Christmas, at the time of this recording for this video, Christmas hasn't happened yet for 2021. So guess what? I might still have some Christmas money that I didn't spend this year that I want to save and spend for next year. So I still have to fill in these blanks for that specific goal. Now you can see some of these have goal amounts. Some of them do not. They say ongoing. What does that mean? Sometimes when you have a sinking fund, you're not gonna have a specific goal amount. Sometimes you're just saving a little bit every single month, like for instance, my bulk grocery runs. I don't have a goal amount. Like I don't say I want to save $1,000 for this goal. Why? Because I'm constantly spending, saving throughout the new year. So Costco, I save $100 every single month. Period. Full stop. $100 a month is what I save. Now this is my Costco sinking fund envelope. I save in cash for this. I'm just going to pull this out here for you. This is what an ongoing sinking fund looks like. You can see that I'm adding $100 every month, but guess what? Sometimes I spend it. Ongoing. Like on August 5th of 2021, I spent $415. It left me with $127 in cash. Then I added to it again, and I'm still adding to it. Now I'll put links to these spending trackers as well as where you can find these sinking fund envelopes in the description of this video if you're interested, but these are the ones that I use for my ongoing sinking funds. So that's an example of an ongoing sinking fund in my life. I'm saving a little bit every single month, no matter what, because I'm constantly spending from that sinking fund. The same goes with like my son's sports. You can see he's in sports all year long. It's not just one single time I need to make one purchase. So my son's sports looks a little bit different. I'm saving $27 a month for his sports. And sometimes we use it and sometimes we don't. Guess what? Over the last couple of years, my son hasn't had any school sports. So I'm just adding to it. Okay. You can see I have all this cash in here. And I'm just adding $27 a month because that way, guess what? When my son does get back into his wrestling, when he does get back into his parkour, when he comes to me and says, Mom, I really want to do this sports camp. Mom, I have a wrestling tournament over the weekend and it's Saturday and Sunday. I have cash for snacks. I have cash to put him into parkour lessons. I have cash for his new cleats, his new headgear for wrestling. Okay, that's what this is for. So that's how I handle that. That is an ongoing sinking fund. So let's talk a little bit more about the sinking funds envelopes that I use. So I use these sinking funds envelopes. It's where I save all of my cash. They have these trackers on the back. Now, you can see here, remember when we talked about my son's birthday and I said I have already $163 saved? That's the cash that you're seeing here. And so I'm starting with $163 in my envelope. And for my son's birthday, I have a $400 goal. That's what this tracker is for. I like to see individually what my progress is for each sinking fund. And I don't want to have to go and count the cash every single time for every single sinking fund. I want to see it very visually in like a second. That's what these trackers are for. So when I add cash, I just color in the lines every single time I get to that amount so I can see visually what my progress is for each sinking fund. Like you can see back to school, I can see within a second I am almost at that goal. Okay, sports, I'm about halfway. Chris's birthday, I don't start saving for July, or I don't start saving until January, so it's blank, of course. Okay, I hit my cash $500 maintenance goal. That's why the tracker is filled out. So and I'll put links to these envelopes in the description of this video. And you can see like, here is Valentine's Day that I saved all through 2021 that I'm gonna use in February of 2022. But I still gotta start. I'm gonna keep saving for Valentine's Day, hence the new envelope for 2023. Okay, so that's what my sinking funds, and I have a new one for Christmas that I'm gonna be saving for starting in January. This is for Christmas of 2022. I have my Christmas for 2021 saved right here. $2,000 that I spent the last 12 months saving for, and you can see, here's me saving every single month for my Christmas goal. So $2,000 for Christmas spending and holiday spending. Now I do use this for Black Friday. I do use this for Christmas shopping, Christmas decorations, Christmas food, Christmas presents. This is all my holiday spending. $2,000 is a big amount. Could you imagine trying to cash flow and planning for this last minute? Look at all the small progress that I spent throughout the entire year getting to that amount. See how it's not such a huge hit to your budget? Small amounts versus coming up with $2,000 at the last minute, or maybe it's not $2,000, maybe it's $500. And if you're working on a really tight budget, maybe it's $200, and that seems impossible. If you save up $5 every paycheck or $10 every paycheck, do you see the difference, how it's not such an overwhelming burden or hit to your budget? So that's currently what my sinking funds look like. I want to take you very quickly inside of the Budget by Paycheck workbook. This is the new Budget by Paycheck workbook. And I'm going to start filling these out in January. But in the beginning of the workbook, you have what's called sinking funds saving visuals. Remember how I told you I like to see individually how I'm doing with each goal? I also like to see how I'm doing with all my goals on one view. So each one of these will be a sinking funds goal, and I'm going to color in these little blocks for my progress for each one. Then I can see where I'm at total for all of my goals in a very visual way within couple of seconds. So this sinking fund saving visual is inside the Budget by Paycheck workbook if you have this. That is there for you to use. And I highly suggest you do implement these trackers into your life. Why? Motivation. Seeing your progress. Sometimes when we make such small progress or small actions to reach such a large goal, in January, this might have felt like, oh, this doesn't matter. I'm never going to hit my goal. This small amount is not, it's like a drop in the bucket. But you see how it adds up? These trackers work the same way. You get to visually see yourself making progress in small ways every single month or every single paycheck. So implement these trackers into your life if you are working with sinking funds or saving goals in general. So before I end this video, I want to talk about going beyond the numbers. Sinking funds for me was always more than just saving dollar amounts. For me, what sinking funds gave me was stability and peace of mind in my life. And I cannot tell you or even put a dollar amount on the value of that as a single mom. There's enough stress, enough chaos, enough doubt in my life as a single mom already, where I felt like having the stability and peace of mind of knowing I don't have to worry about that expense. I don't have to worry about coming up with money for my son's birthday or his sporting events, right? Or Christmas, getting him a present that I really want to give him, or an experience, a sleigh ride, or going out on a Christmas cruise. I can afford that. And as a single mom who once struggled, that means everything. We can never put a dollar amount on peace of mind. But it also gave me the confidence to be able to know and trust myself to make the decisions I needed to with sinking funds in my life to give me that stability and peace of mind. So today, I challenge you to look ahead in the new year and think about that event or holiday or purchase in your life that pops up every single year that you feel pressured to use your credit card. Now, using a credit card isn't bad. That's not what I'm saying. But using a credit card because you have no other option and you can't pay for it and you spend on your credit card anyways, that's what I want to try to alleviate for you, is that type of pressure. So we work within the confines of our budget, of our income, but we want to utilize our money in a way where it works the best for us. And what's the best for you might not be what's best for somebody else. Your sinking funds might look very different from mine. Might look very different from a friend's or anybody else in the TBM family community, and that's okay. Maybe you have no sinking funds because your main whole goal in 2022 is paying off debt. The only word of caution that I give you for that is, remember, paying off debt isn't just about paying off debt now. It's ensuring that you don't go back into debt in the future. And one of the ways that keeps you from going back into debt in the future is learning to manage your money, to plan and prepare responsibly. So sinking funds helps you do that. If you found this video helpful, please like it and don't forget to subscribe.